The MPA ratings board has officially lost its mind. Hey everyone, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net. Thank you so much for joining this channel. And let's talk about Paw Patrol, the Mighty movie. This is not something I was expecting to talk about. So here's the thing. I do not watch Paw Patrol. I don't have anything against it per se, but here's the thing. It's a movie, well, not a movie. It's a series made for very, very little kids. My 2-year-old nephew loves Paw Patrol, watches it all the time, also loves Spidey and Friends. But well, Paw Patrol is something that I can okay, yeah, I get why kids like it. I'm glad that they like it. It's pretty harmless. It's not something I personally would watch. Now, out of a critical obligation and because my nephew wanted to see it, obviously, I watched the first Paw Patrol movie and it was fine. It was okay. Like I said, it's for little kids. It's not something I would necessarily watch. If I had bothered to write a review about it, it would have gotten 3 stars primarily because, as a kid's film, it was cute and effective. It was also harmless G-rated entertainment, and that's perfectly fine. We need stuff like that in the world. And, of course, my nephew is excited that there is going to be a sequel coming out called Paw Patrol, the Mighty Movie. Now, this is obviously a play on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They're doing a little Power Rangers thing with Paw Patrol this time. Again, not for me, especially since I'm not much of a Power Rangers fan. But the movie got a rating that I was quite surprised to see it get. Instead of it being G like I expected it to be, Paw Patrol the Mighty Movie has been rated PG for some action peril. Now, as far as warning descriptions go, that's pretty mild. Basically, it means there's some action in the movie and maybe a character or two might be put in danger of some sort, but otherwise, it doesn't really mean much. So as far as a warning goes, it's a pretty mild warning. But here's the thing. Even without having seen Paw Patrol the Mighty Movie, the MPA has officially lost their mind. They make themselves more and more useless by the year, primarily in the fact that they give PG ratings to movies that don't deserve PG ratings. Does the MPA even realize what the PG rating means anymore? It means parental guidance suggested. Some material may not be suitable for children. And while parents have differing points of view on what is acceptable for children and what is not acceptable for children, I think the vast, vast, vast majority of the people who are looking at this PG rating for a Paw Patrol movie, which is not only based on a kid show, it's based off a Nick Jr. kid show. This is the preschool block for Nickelodeon where things like Blue's Clues and Dora the Explorer airs. I mean, this is not by any means a general audience's film. This is aimed squarely at 2 to 3-year-olds. And the fact that this movie is getting a PG, and I haven't seen it, so in all fairness, maybe it earns that PG, but I'm pretty confident that it does not earn that PG. And I'm going to cite some examples because I think most parents would be in total agreement that Paw Patrol is not something that requires a parent to be warned about or their guidance should be suggested. It is a movie geared towards preschoolers. The G rating, frankly, should have been automatic. Now, this is not the first time I have talked about this rating. I actually made a video a few years ago where I actually discuss the ratings. Here's a little clip of it for those of you who haven't seen it. Because the chances of you seeing a G-rated film in theaters is almost as rare as you seeing an NC-17 rated film in theaters. What makes this all the more problematic is that the rating is actually effectively worthless now, and the MPAA have no one but themselves to blame. Yeah, forgive the quality, that video is a few years old. But here's the thing, that video still gets watched and it still gets commented on because people are just sick and tired of the MPA basically being useless to everyone. It's bad enough that they don't give G-rated movies Gs and they give them PGs, but that means when a movie is PG and actually earns that PG rating, it creates a problem. So here's some fairly recent movies that have been rated PG that should have been rated G. We're going to throw Paw Patrol in there just for the heck of it, but Paw Patrol the Mighty movie, that is obviously supposed to be a G. Elemental was rated PG. That's perfectly fine for kids. There's nothing wrong with that movie. The Super Mario Brothers movie is rated PG. Why is it rated PG? Heck if I know, but it is, and that should be a G-rated movie. Luca got rated PG. Should be a G-rated movie. What's wrong with that movie? I can't think of anything. Can you? Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. What's wrong with it? I guess Marcel pukes at one point. Kind of stretching for this one. Let's go back a little further. Is Frozen a PG movie? I would argue no. Is The Muppets a PG movie? No. I would argue that that is not a PG movie. Neither is The Muppets Most Wanted. The Wizard of Oz re-release in 3D. Oh yeah, Wizard of Oz, movie that's been rated G for like over 40 years at this point. Maybe over 50 at this point. No, it's been rated G over 75. That's an old movie. But because it gets a 3D coat of paint, it's now rated PG. All of a sudden, like, what on earth? Like it was all of a sudden like safe for all kids to watch this for like almost a century, and then all of a sudden now parents need to be warned about this. I mean, maybe sensitivity culture is really getting the best of us. And the thing is, when you give G-rated movies PG ratings, it means that, guess what? When you actually have a movie that deserves that PG rating, it's going to not be effective because parents are going to take their kids to see it, thinking that there's basically going to be nothing wrong with it. A good example of this is the very recently released Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. This movie is rated PG, but I would argue it is certainly not a family film. I think it is geared for older kids. There is some bad language in it. The violence is a little intense. And unlike most PG movies, this one actually feels like a PG movie. This is a PG movie that parents should have a warning that, hey, there's some stuff in here that maybe it's not exactly appropriate for 5 or 6-year-olds. But because they keep giving G-rated films PGs, then this PG-rated movie, which deserves to be PG and deserves a warning, now it's not actually doing its job because parents are going to take their kids to see it. And they're going to be very shocked when they hear the bad language. They're going to be very shocked by some of the very intense sequences that are in the movie. The MPA is not doing their job. And look, here's the thing. Like, I've made videos about the MPA before. Many people have written articles. The MPA is this really weird ratings thing where it is in some ways necessary because you want a warning of some sort to be there, but it's not really doing their job anymore, and I don't think they have your interest or mine at heart. I mean, the fact that they can give a Paw Patrol movie a PG rating because it might have a little action in it is really, really dumb. It's really, really dumb, and it's frustrating because I want the ratings to actually mean something. Like, growing up in my household, we could live or die based on, well, not live or die, but the movies that we watched lived and died on the ratings. And if a movie was rated PG, like, say, Space Jam, we couldn't see it, even if my parents watched it and said, yeah, there's technically nothing wrong with it, you should be fine. And the reason they held such a strong line is because if you get one of these really stubborn kids who thinks they're like a little ace attorney lawyer, and they say, oh, well, I saw this PG-rated film, why can't I see this one? I know parents have to do a better job, but still, it would help if the ratings actually reflected the actual content that's in the movie, not some arbitrary fling where basically the studios are like, hey, we want the higher rating because it won't look so much like a kiddie film anymore, even though Toy Story 4 made over $1 billion and was rated G. I mean, I don't know. One thing I do know, though, is I don't want to necessarily live in a world where Paw Patrol is considered too intense for kids and that parents need to preview it. Now, maybe the movie earns that rating. I don't know, but I seriously doubt it. I think as far as parents go, the MPA is a complete joke. You should watch YouTubers and read film critic reviews who actually take a time to mention whether or not a film is family appropriate or not to view, and basically let the MPA slide. I mean, if it's PG-13 or higher, then yeah, it's probably not safe to take your kids to see it. But as far as whether or not a movie is actually a PG movie or not, that's become very much in question, and I don't think the MPA is doing anyone any favors. But that's where I'm going to leave this video. What do you think? Do you agree, disagree? Would love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.